Right, so as I said, it's gonna be at some point ETOPS. So at the moment we've got, I think it's all these airports actually too small there. I don't know what they are. We've got Muscat initially. It's at 210 miles. Actually out of this now. Okay, so we can actually disregard it. And then we've got Salalah, which is actually the ETOPS airport. We're at 420 nautical miles on it. So Salalah is down here, because obviously we're gonna go over quite a long stretch of ocean from like the south coast of Oman all the way to Seychelles. Is obviously a long stretch of water. The average landing rate, they say from about 600-700 feet per minute is considered like a hard landing. So anything below 700-600 feet per minute, anything below that is good. But normally, yeah, it's about, I don't know, we don't really look at it to tell the truth, but I would say maybe 100 feet per minute, 200 feet per minute. Probably sometimes a bit less as well. But anything like, as I said, below 600 feet per minute is good. Then beyond 600 feet per minute it would be considered a hard landing, because basically there wouldn't be much of a flare, because you would come down the ILS. We'll see later on the ILS approach our rate of descent. But on a normal ILS approach, your rate of descent will be maybe 700 feet per minute. So if you touch down at 600 feet per minute, basically you've not really flared. So you're just coming down and boom, no flare at all. So and we would always flare a little bit. So the chances to do a hard landing, you really need to go for it. Or otherwise, you need to kind of point the nose down at the last minute to increase your rate of descent, and then you'll go like bam. And sometimes even like, you know, you would bounce possibly as well if you kind of put the nose down at the last minute. Obviously you don't want to land with the nose gear first, because the nose gear is not really designed to support a hard landing. So if you land with the nose gear first, the nose gear might collapse and then it's no good. But the main gear is very solid. If you see like the size of the gear and the structure of the gear, it's impressive. It's really solid. The regulated landing weight on this is about 251 tons, but the aircraft can land more or less at any weight, even at maximum takeoff weight. Theoretically, you can land the aircraft. You would have to do a overweight landing inspection and all that stuff to make sure that you've not damaged anything or some components have not been compromised somehow. But yeah, you can land the aircraft overweight, no problem. So Salalah, let's listen to. No, I don't know. Not listening. I'm not gonna be able to listen to Salalah. But we'll pick up the weather. No. It's not the closest station. Okay, let's see the destination weather, just to have an idea. 9 Zulu, about 23 minutes ago, 350 at 6, few CB, scatter 30 degrees, 1009. Okay, nice. no dramas. Equatorial weather. Good, preset 1009 already. Shouldn't change that much. Right, and then I think at Kivel, I think it's Kivel. Yeah, Kivel, we are going into Yemen and Sana FIR at Kivel. Sana, wow, fantastic. Traveling around. Oops, sorry, I'll change that view. Yeah, so basically that's what I was saying earlier on. We are leaving the kind of south coast of Oman here, and yeah, pretty much going straight on a long stretch of ocean. So I think the way the airspace is designed is that then once we are a little bit further out here will be kind of Sana airspace, kind of comes and stretches out towards the ocean a little bit. But yeah, we're already over the ocean, that's it. The south coast of Oman, for what it's worth, on the simulator here. I hear Salalah is very nice, although the rest of Oman is kind of desert and fairly dry. Apparently Salalah on the south coast of Oman is really nice. It gets, in the summer in particular, it gets some of the monsoon, the southwest monsoon coming up from the Indian Ocean, and picks up a bit of rain and low cloud, and so it's fairly green compared to the rest. Anyway. That's what I heard. Mac the third director. Hello. Yeah, that's the outside view. I'll try to avoid the sharing on the aircraft structure. Yeah, the kind of southeastern coast of Oman, and now straight over the ocean. Yeah, now it's gonna be water all the way to Seychelles. I think we might be flying over that little island called Socotra, but apart from that, then it's water everywhere. Once again with the contrail. Yeah. No problem, Prosperatus. What we can do is this. That's the kind of entertainment view. So we left from up here somewhere, I think Dubai is. We've been flying down here, and yeah, the south east or south coast of Oman here, and that's Socotra, I think. So I think we might fly a little bit to the east of it, and that's the island of Socotra, and then pretty much down to Seychelles, which is here, I think. So we've got a long stretch of ocean, Somalia here with Mogadishu, which at the moment I think is not really a usable place, unfortunately. And then further down Mombasa, somewhere here on the coastline, and then Dar es Salaam, Seychelles down here, Mauritius, and Madagascar further down, and on this side here the Maldives, and then Diego Garcia, and India there obviously with all these places, Trivandrum, Cochin, Goa, Mumbai, and all that stuff. Sri Lanka here, Pakistan, I think. Yeah, so that's the IFE. Good morning, Michelle. 747 pilot. Hello, hello. So yeah, that's the IFE view. I quite like that view actually. Shows you where you are in the world. Oh, 747 pilot. I think you were asking me the other day about ETOPS and how to basically work it out. So this is an ETOPS flight because we're gonna go over like long distances with no airport around. So what I've done already earlier on is on the fixed page I entered this airport here, Oscar Sierra Alpha, which is Salalah in the south of Oman. And on the 777 we are considered going into ETOPS further away than 420 nautical miles from a suitable airport. So on the fixed page you enter the airport here and then enter 420 miles this way, slash for the distance, and 420. You can see here you've got bearing slash distance, so if you enter slash and then the distance, it will give you the distance. And now we can see on the navigation display the airport is down here, Salalah, and at the moment it's actually auto-tuning to the VOR Sierra Lima Lima. Yeah, so we've got the airport here and then 420 nautical miles around. So once we get outside of that green circle, then we'll be entering ETOPS. All these little airports, they are not suitable. I don't know what airports they are. This one I think is Socotra, but it's not really acceptable for ETOPS. And all these ones there on the coastline are also not adequate or suitable or whatever. So the last really airport on this part of the world is Salalah here. So once we are outside of the 420 mile ring here, we'll be entering ETOPS. And then after that, really it's really like a planning exercise, really. Basically, once we are outside the 420 nautical miles and we are within the ETOPS sector, it's a matter of planning for three possible scenarios. The first one will be an engine failure. The second one will be depressurization, and the third one will be a simultaneous engine failure and depressurization. For example, like a cargo door will be blown out, so you will get a depressurization, and when the door blows out, it will go into an engine and the engine would fail. That would be like a really bad day in the office. So that's the third scenario basically. And then there's a fuel planning exercise basically from the point where you would be at an equal distance from two airports, and from that point there's a fuel calculation for either like a descent to 10,000 feet for depressurization, otherwise a descent to the drift down altitude for an engine failure. And and from there they will calculate, you know, the amount of fuel necessary to divert to these airports. So today in my scenario here, it's Salalah, and the other airport is Mombasa in Kenya. It's HKMO. I'm not sure we're gonna see it on the display. We might see the edge of the ring somewhere. You can use also actually the arrival airport. So Seychelles in this case, it can be an ETOPS alternate. You can plan the destination as the ETOPS alternate. As you can see, like Mombasa doesn't really show yet because we're still very far from it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I think ETOPS is more like a planning process, really, a planning exercise than anything else. It's also like a certification process in the way that after like 420 nautical miles, or was more or less like an hour flying, in the past you are not allowed to go beyond, but because the engines in particular are becoming more and more reliable, then the certification to go beyond 420 nautical miles have started to come in place, and the limits have been extended. So first of all, from 60 minutes or 1 hour, it's been extended to 90 minutes, 120 minutes, 150, 180, and now on these 300 ERs with GE engines, which is the case of this aircraft here, up to 207 minutes. If you want, you can have a look at the flight plan today, and it's not gospel, but I will show you a little bit how the ETOPS planning is sorted out. And if you have any questions, we can kind of go through it together as we go along. So today the flight planning is actually 180 minutes ETOPS. Although the aircraft is certified for 207 minutes, the ETOPS planning doesn't have to be to the aircraft limits. It can be 180, or it can be 120. It doesn't have to be to the aircraft limits. Because as I said, like the aircraft certification limits and the ETOPS planning exercise is totally different. So, but 120 minutes was not enough today for this flight. So this flight needs to be at least 180 minutes, because I think if you do 120 minutes with Salalah and Mombasa, it's not enough. I'm not sure with Seychelles if it's enough. Maybe it is Seychelles and Salalah to do 120 minutes. But today I wanted to kind of use another airport than the destination, so that's why we're to extend to 180 minutes. And then one thing that is quite important is that to plan for ETOPS as well, obviously the airports need to be the diversion airports need to be available, so the runway needs to be open. And one thing that is very important as well is that the weather needs to be good. If the weather is not good, then the airports are not suitable, basically, for ETOPS. Hey, Windy 54, no worries. The flight is going well. An hour and 22 minutes into the flight. We're just into Yemen's airspace. We just left the southern coast of Oman, and now more or less over the ocean all the way to Seychelles. So doing fairly well. We saved 700 kilos of fuel on the last fuel checkpoint. So far so good. We are in business. We are talking a little bit about ETOPS. Yeah, one important thing is that, as I said, ETOPS is a planning exercise. So once we are in the air, ETOPS kind of goes out of the window a little bit. But the principles of ETOPS would kind of still apply, above all as far as the weather is concerned. So if before entering the ETOPS sector, the weather at the ETOPS alternates is bad, then you can't choose that airport anymore. So if you don't have any other options, then you can't enter the ETOPS sector. It's as simple as that. Thank you very much for the follow. Good day, HM. Thank you very much. Good day, HM. So, for example, if today, like the weather in Salalah wouldn't be good, then we wouldn't be able to go ETOPS. We'll have to go back round. As strange as it seems. But obviously, when you plan the flight, you would look at the weather, see what the chances are that the weather is going to be very bad and you can't land in Salalah, and then you will try to plan differently. So the chances to run into like bad weather, actually having to do a 180 and go back and not be able to go in tops are fairly remote. But what could happen as well would be that the airport closes, and if Salalah and Mombasa were closing, then that would be another situation as well that would prevent you from going into ETOPS. Right, let's call.
Hello.
Some lunch, please.
Okay, I'll be up in a moment.
Come in.
Hello, gentlemen. I hope these snacks will tide you over.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Anytime. Right. As Giant Unicorn was saying, no Mile High Club. What a shame. How do you cope with jet lag? Super Adaki 777. That's a very, very good question. People usually manage in different ways, so it's kind of quite subjective and quite a personal thing. But I would personally try to only move my body clock to maybe a couple of hours in the direction of the destination, and maybe not try to stick too much to base time, because if you stick to base time, sometimes if you find yourself quite far away, then you're gonna be up at night and sleeping during the day at your destination, so it's not that interesting. But yeah, I will try to move my body only by 2-3 hours maximum. I wouldn't try to go beyond that, because first of all, it's not possible to shift your body like 7, 8, 9 time zones in 24 hours. You can't just switch like this. Yeah, so that's what I will do. I will try to kind of only move by a couple of hours. Usually works out okay, because when you come back to base as well, you don't want to be totally back the you know, synced to where you were before. So yeah. So that's my way of coping. So I don't know. Let's say you're based in Europe and you're going to the States. You're going to America somewhere on the West Coast. I think it's about 8-hour time difference. The way I would do it is that I would try to stay on European time, but I would kind of, I think naturally actually, because you would go westbound, so your days would basically be longer. To kind of enjoy a little bit of sunshine and daytime light. Yeah, I think the body would move automatically by a couple of hours. But that would mean that if you move your body by a couple of hours only, or like 3-4 hours, that means that if you're, for example, going to the west coast of the States, more or less by mid-afternoon or early afternoon, you would go to bed basically, and then wake up in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock in the morning or something, which would be morning time back in Europe, but on the west coast of the States it would be the middle of the night. So that's the way going westbound. That's the way it would work a little bit. You would wake up in the middle of the night by maybe 2 o'clock in the morning wherever you are, and then kind of spend the morning a little bit like, you know, in your hotel room, because at 2 o'clock in the morning, even in busy places, there's not a lot of things to do. Wait for breakfast. Breakfast will be some sort of equivalent of a late lunch, and then go out, take the daylight a little bit all morning, early afternoon, and then go to bed, and then again wake up middle of the night. But that's all you can do. I wouldn't be able to shift my body like, for example, 8 hours and then do a normal local night sleep. It's not possible. Going east is a little bit different, because going east, I've never had breakfast in the location and the places where we go to eastbound. For example, never had breakfast, because I always, like, you know, I'm still sleeping when it's breakfast time. So I always wake up if there's like 4, 5, 6 hours time difference eastbound. I always wake up, it's already lunchtime, you know, because back at base it's only early morning time. So so that's a funny one, because when you go east, you always kind of wake up around local lunchtime ish or early afternoon, and yeah, the day is almost already gone, and by the time it gets to evening time and dark, it's only been like maybe, I don't know, 6-7 hours of daylight, and that's it, and then it's dark again. But then you will be up until, I don't know, 2-3 o'clock in the morning. So it's really weird. But all you can do is try to stick to a local, to stick to your base time, to wherever you're from. Stick to that time and kind of let your body adjust naturally, I guess. And naturally your body would only adjust by a couple of hours in whatever direction you're going to, basically. Yeah, that's my technique, my tactic. But it's a pain in the backside when, as I said, you wake up and it's still the middle of the night somewhere. You wake up, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like, man, what do I do now? You know, you look outside, it's all dark, and you look at your watch. My watch always stays on home base time, and you look at your watch and it shows like 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's like wherever you are it's like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and you think, oh man, back home it's already like the middle of the morning, and I'm here it's like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning, you know. Yeah. Or you look at your clock and it's your watch is maybe evening time at home, and it's already 2 o'clock in the morning where you are. So it's kind of dinner time, but where you are everything is closed. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, all the shops are closed, all the restaurants are closed. In the hotels you only have like room service, but the night service, so it's like limited option, and it's always the same crap, like pizza, burgers, and that's it, you know. It's like, well, can we have something else? So yeah. But that's we're talking about it earlier on, Socotra at 80 nautical miles. Oh yeah, here it is, Socotra, which is supposed to be actually an amazing place. Looking at videos and pictures online on the internet, it looks amazing. They said like some species are only can only be found on Socotra, like some trees and some animals, and apparently you can only find these certain species on Socotra. Seems to be amazing place. Like the landscape is absolutely like terrific. Yeah, that's yeah, it's an amazing place. I invite you to do a little search online, Socotra, and you'll see, like, you know, all these photos and stuff. There are some videos, and as I said, there are some, like the fauna and the flora. Some species are only can only be found on Socotra, nowhere else on Earth. It's amazing. It's like being in an alien world. Yeah, let's go back to our... Yeah, here we are. So we're just east of it. Socotra is here. After that, there's not gonna be much. We've got the Horn of Africa there, kind of northeastern side of Somalia, which is a huge place actually there. But we're gonna keep that way to the right of the aircraft, going down all the way here to Seychelles. Think that could be the tip of Madagascar there. I'm not sure. Can't see it. Maybe zoom out a little bit more. Yeah, that was the tip of Madagascar there. So Seychelles and possibly Mauritius and Réunion Island here. Very nice. I like this view. Kind of on these long flights, it gives you a global perspective of where you are. Apparently people like rave on that wing view, so I'll offer you a wing view. It's actually a huge wing on the 777, rake wing as well at the end of it. There's gonna be some shearing at some point there. Oh, you can hear the engine. Yeah, it's gonna shear. Wow. To have a look at the rake tip wing tip. Whoa. Yeah, that shape of the wing tip there, the rake wing tip, amazing. Original view. Oh, that's the cabin. So the engine there is huge, actually. They say the size of the engine is the size of a 737 fuselage. And when you're standing on the ground, obviously not when the engine is running like this. When you're standing on the ground to do the walk around, and you're standing in front of the engine, the bottom of the engine nacelle there, kind of, I'm about a meter 80, 180, 181 centimeters. Oh yeah, whatever. Kind of the bottom of the nacelle there gets to the top of my, kind of on my chest line there, like on top or at the top of my stomach, kind of where your bottom ribs are, more or less. So that would be about a meter and maybe, I don't know, more than a meter off the ground anyway. So, and then, I mean, stretching your arms, you wouldn't really touch the top of the engine. It's huge, absolutely huge. The flashing light on the wing, I'm sure you meant. Thank you very much for the follow. That Puditang, welcome to the stream. Yeah, the light on the wings. Hold on, let me go back to my wing light. So yeah, we've got a flashing light here, which is the strobe lights, which are on basically from the moment we enter the runway, and then obviously on in flight. And thank you very much for the follow, Mighty Boo. Welcome, sir. Yeah, and then a colored light here on each wingtip. Hey, thank you very much for the donation. Time for the 747. Indeed. Indeed, indeed. Thank you very much, 747 Ver Pilot. So yeah, to go back to the lights. The flashing light on the wingtip there, the strobe lights, which are on from basically the moment we enter the runway until the moment we leave the runway on the other side. And then these colored lights here, also on the wingtip, on each wingtip. Are the navigation lights, which you can find also on boats or ships. On the right side it's a green light, and on the left side it's a red light. So the way I remember it is not to wear socks. one red sock and one green sock. One red sock on the left foot and the green sock on the right foot. No, that's not the way I remember it. Before anyone says something about that. No, the way I remember it is that like red left. It kind of sounds the same, so a red light on the left side and a green light on the right side. That's the way I remember it. Red left and green right. Yeah, so that's the navigation light. So for example, obviously during the day it's of no much use, but at night when you see like another aircraft, you can tell the kind of orientation of the aircraft. If you see the green light, then you know that you're looking at his right side, and vice versa. And yeah, these are the lights on the aircraft. change. And then we've got the where is it? I can't see it there. Hold on. Then we've got the beacon there on top of the aircraft, the red flashing light, which is on from the moment the engines are running. So basically, it's an industry-wide sort of convention to have like the beacon, the anti-collision light there flashing when the engines are running or about to be started, and until obviously they are shut down, of course, on the other side. So there's one beacon up here on the roof of the aircraft, which for people on the ground is of no much use, but there is also another one under the belly of the aircraft, which hopefully we'll manage to spot. Yeah, it's well up here or down here. You can see it flash. I don't know if you'll see it on your screen, but that's the one under the belly of the aircraft. So for the ground people, as soon as they see the red light flashing, then whoa, we've got to watch out, because the engines are going to be started. On the 787, the beacon there, the anti-collision light is very bright. They've got these LEDs which make it very bright, and you can kind of tell a 787 at night in the sky. You can tell them apart from other aircraft types fairly easily because of that very bright light. Bikemaster 10032, thank you very much. Welcome to the stream. The Under DK, thank you very much. We'll see you. We'll see you later on. Thank you for the follow, La Wind. Welcome, sir. Yeah, and I wanted to say also something else about the lights before I resume the chat a little bit, while I'm still thinking about it. On Boeing, the strobe lights flash once per cycle, so it goes like flash, flash. Whereas on the Airbus, it goes twice. It goes tick 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 tick. So that's also a way to tell Airbus and Boeing apart. Boeing's got one flash, and Airbus got two flashes on the strobe lights there. Little tricks. Do we turn off the landing lights? Yeah, all the landing lights are off in the cruise. The lights come off at 10,000 feet in the climb and come back on at 10,000 feet in the descent. In the cloud, when the lights are on in cloud, it's not too bad. There's no much reflection. It's a little bit more of a problem in fog. When you're about to land in fog, the lights can kind of reflect on the fog a little bit, but otherwise it's not a big problem. The only lights from the overhead panel here, which are on in flight, are the strobe lights. Hold on, I'll move this a little bit. Yeah, the strobe lights, the beacon, you know, the red light I showed you on top of the fuselage and also underneath, and the navigation lights on the wings. So left red, so the left light on the red on the. Thank you very much for the follow. What's that? McGlammy. Yes, the red light on the left wing and the green light on the right wing. That's the navigation light. The logo light will come on at night. Also below 10,000 feet. Above that, you can have it on, but some airlines don't like to have it on because it kind of burns the light bulb more quickly if it's on permanently at night. So to save on the bulb replacement, then the light is is switched off above 10,000 feet. It's all down to economics. Yeah, and so these are the three lights basically which are on in the cruise, and below 10,000 feet all the other lights come on, even the taxi light, the runway turn off, and all the landing lights come on. So obviously, because the gear is, you'll ask for the nose landing light, because the gear is not down. The light is obviously off, and when the gear comes down, then the light comes on the nose landing light.